Hey folks, Rick Berube here for another Facebook Live on this June 1st. Woo! All right, we're 5 months behind us in this crazy year called 2021, which isn't quite as crazy as 2020. Things didn't go 2020 in 2021 at least. Anyway, things are getting better every single day. Speaking of getting better every single day, all right, we have from the Gilbert Mesa office, Sara Weller today to talk to you. All right, Sara, welcome. And the studio. Good morning. Good morning. All right. So let's talk. We have people from California and Nevada on here as well as Arizona. So let's start off by telling a little about yourself, how long you've been in the business, those types of things, please.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm Sara. I've been in the business for about 2.5 years. Really doing business for about 2. Always in the Gilbert Mesa office. It was my first stop. Still here. Still going. Personally, my family, we've done the whole corporate relo thing 5 times. So this is our final stop. We're not moving anymore. We've promised that to our son. So going through corporate relo, that's kind of what brought me into real estate. We had some good experiences, some not so good real estate experiences. And I kind of just thought I can do it better.
Yeah. It's funny how many I've heard that before where, if my agent can make a living
doing that and I just work.
Right. You could go in and kill it. Yeah. Plus Arizona is like one of the top destinations in the country right now too. So why would you want to leave there? It's beautiful.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Sunshine and blue skies.
Sunshine and blue skies. And it's only a little too hot, maybe July and August. And it's really not that bad because it's such a dry heat.
It is. A dry heat, they say, and it's real. So
it is. When I first moved to Vegas, and I used to tell them, yeah, but so's a hairdryer.
True. I know. I can tell.
All right. So you got into the business thinking, we've had some bad, some good experiences. And, with our real estate agent. So, it's an interesting business because you can get into this business very easily, although you're handling something that's very important. Most people, it's their most expensive asset. They raise their family there. They're going to be, they need to know where they're going. It's a very interesting, serious, important job that's incredibly easy to get into. All right. Mm-hmm. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is. All right. So tell them in Arizona, tell us a little about your business and, where you are maybe this year and how things are going. I know you put some big deals together recently, right?
Yeah, I have. Things are going really well this year. It's been a really busy year. I so far I've closed 8. I have 2 in escrow. I've done about 2.8 million and then I have 1.2 million in escrow right now. So really great for me. I'm really happy. I've met some awesome people. A lot of them are out-of-state clients. So, for me, I think the way I shape my business is kind of going back to what I already said. We've had some not so great experiences and agents personally that have kind of treated us just like another number. It's just a transaction to them. And so the way I shape my business is just treating my clients with that respect, giving them the emotional support that they need. It's just a little bit different. It's more about the relationship for me, but it's helped because I've already had, repeat business and referrals from that. So.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's critically important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things that when you're involved in a transaction and somebody's treating you like a number, it's so hard to explain, define. And those same people are usually the people that don't get that they're actually doing that, right? It's so frustrating.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
Yeah. So you got into the business and you said, you know what, I'm going to turn that around and I'm going to give some people, people get really good service, under promise, over deliver. And it seems like it's working good so far, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I always tell my husband, I'm not going to change the industry. I'm not going to change all the other agents, but I can make the change in my little bubble and with my clients and just give them the support they deserve and the love, compassion, empathy. It's a tough process. So especially right now in this market in Arizona, it's crazy.
It is crazy, isn't it? The inventory is super low. And when you take your buyers out, do you school them on what's going on right now?
Yes. So before we even go out, we have a very real conversation. I'm pretty straightforward and just tell them kind of what it's going to take, how we're going to wiggle with their budget a little bit to make sure that we're not looking in a price range with, escalating above list price, that we're not falling into that higher end category. So it's just all about education prior to even going and seeing that first property.
Excellent. So give us one of your the craziest one you've done so far this year, like the price versus. You don't have to give exact numbers because I know sometimes your customers and clients.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of them recently, and I think a lot of people have misconceptions too about that it's just, that 300, 400,000 price point. But one of my recent closings was, we closed at 900,000. It was listed at 875. So even in that situation, that price point, we still had to go above list price to win the deal because we were competing with two other couples. So it just goes to show that, regardless of your price point, it still matters and you have to do what it takes to win.
You do if you want the property.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Do you want to be right? Like, well, I shouldn't have to pay that. You're right. But you want to be right, or do you want to own the property? I think that's kind of important.
Yeah. And that's kind of with this last deal, what it came down to. And, I think that's ultimately, they said, this is the one, this is it. So tell us what we have to do. And that's really, that's my job. And then, I think a lot of people are having issues with appraisals, but your agent, in my perspective, that's something they should be taking care of you, making sure that there won't be issues with appraisal. And I've never had one that didn't appraise, just because you create your appraisal packet and take it, and hopefully, everything's going to turn out well. So.
Yeah. Yeah. If you do some of the work for them and put it all together, and as long as you're not, every now and then you may have, because I talk to agents all the time, and you may have one, but the buyers made the decision to do that if they're educated, right? So it's not you, it's them.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. And that's really, in some of the stories I've heard, 875 to 900 is not really that bad today.
No, not at all. I've had others go 60,000 above. So
yeah, it's actually, we had one, I think it was in North Scottsdale. It was appraised at 175 and it closed at 2.2 and change.
Wow. That's amazing.
4,000. And they paid cash for it because they're coming from California. If you're coming from California, have you seen the video about the apple?
Yes, I have. It's hilarious. It's so good. Spot on.
the guy from California goes, I've never seen an apple this cheap.
Yes, exactly.
It's all relative, right?
It's true.
Okay. All right, good. All right, good. So tell us a little about, like you've had 8 closings, and give us a little, so you obviously list and sell. Are you primarily working with buyers, or do you have a good mix of listings and buyers?
Mostly buyers at this point. I did have a listing that also they purchased, but a lot of buyers right now. I have 8 to 10 in my pipeline, and they're all buyers. So that's exciting. It's a lot of work, but I do like it. Eventually I think I'll get to the point where listings become my thing, but right now I'm succeeding with where I'm at with my buyers. And so I'm just going to stay the course with those. I do have a lot of relationships, coming from out of state. This isn't where my SOI is. So I've had to really build that and then also maintain my relationships nationwide and all the places we've lived. So I do have a lot of referrals from, previous agents, people that I know moving out here, which is great. I love it. It's wonderful that people trust me and send people my way. So it's been pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, by the way, James Rain says he would like a copy of your appraisal package. I don't know if you can see that.
Absolutely, James. I'll get it to you.
Good. All right. So, as long as you're 100% upfront with them and let them know what's going on. Like I tell agents today, you almost want to, when you tell them the absolute truth, some people are not going to want to do that in today's market, right?
Right. Yeah.
Have you heard, well, we're just going to wait for the market to change?
Yes, absolutely. And I said, you could be waiting a long time or not. We don't know. So it's just, again, it goes back to what you said, Rick. It's a matter of wanting it. If you're ready and you want to move and, that's kind of where you're at, then we're going to have to do what it takes. But again, that goes back to, the compassion, empathy, all of that, just understanding it is a tough market. So really just focusing on the emotions behind the transaction and also a crazy market. So
yeah, it's tougher if you're a buyer. It's your heaven if you're a seller, especially if you're like selling and saying, you know what, I'm going to travel the world, or, and you're not buying again, then. Right. But if you're buying again, it's relative.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to find a place to go.
Right. Even if you're downsizing, it's still relative. You're going to get a lot. You're going to give a lot. And I think the pandemic itself really recharged the upper end and the
Mhm.
right, because now people are working out of their houses more. They want more square footage. They want a casita. They want whatever. Um,
Yes.
you're going to see I mean, you see a bunch of people working out of their houses now, don't you?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. That space has become really critical. The
Yeah.
office, having the space, the backyard, oasis, all of that. We've seen just kind of a flip in that. Priorities have shifted.
Yeah. You never know. But yeah,
Right.
so when the agents ask me, okay, Rick, when someone says to me, I'm going to wait for the market, the market to calm down, what would you say? And I always say the same thing. If you've got, 2 to 5 years, then don't buy. But in two
Right.
to 5 years, your house could appreciate a lot if you buy now.
100% agree.
I
Yeah,
mean,
for sure.
inventory in Arizona, California, Orange County, the desert in California where we are, Las Vegas. The MLSs are reporting they've never had inventory this low.
Right.
Okay. And some of them, at least in the last 20, 25 years. The interest rates are low. The economy is
Hmm.
kicking into gear again. I mean,
Hmm.
the builders didn't overbuild since 2007 because laying institutions, and I mean, it goes on and on and on as to why we're
Right.
here today. But the bottom line is it's a supply and demand thing. All right. And that I don't see it going away for a while. We just went through a pandemic, and September through October, through December of last year were incredible once it got back into gear, and it's continued. So, how long can
Right.
it go on? I don't know, but
Hmm.
it's not going to be, oh, next year it's going to go in the tank. That's not in the cards right now. It could be a few years
No.
down the road. So, unfortunately for those people, I remember even just 2, 3 years ago, one of the buyers that one of my agents was working with said to me, we're going to wait for the market. They actually sold their house and rented and banked a couple 100,000, waiting for the market to go down. And then after a year and a half of doing that, they went out and bought anyway because they realized it ain't going down. And that was,
No.
yeah.
But think about
So
the equity they could have had if they would have just bought right away. So going back to what you said.
exactly right. And if you're going to
Mhm.
stay somewhere for a while, then it's all relative, right? I mean, it's like
Mhm.
the stock market, except real estate moves a little slower than that. All right.
Right.
My favorite question. All right. You've obviously a couple years in the business. You're obviously doing very well. So, what would be the three for giving these wonderful people watching today? What would be the three most important pieces of advice you'd give them for somebody who wants to
Mhm.
get into gear like you, or maybe take their business to the next level?
Yeah, I think number one, really, in our training at Berkshire specifically, we really talk about the database. And for me, again, going back to my SOIs not here, making sure that even those people that you might not think, when you reach out to them, they might not ever do anything or something might not come from that, still put them in your database because you don't know. I've had some people reach out that I would have never expected to reach out. So keep that your priority, keep it updated because that continuous communication to me is what's most important. And you can't really do that if you don't have a solid database. Also, when you start in the business, it's overwhelming. You're being thrown so many different systems and opportunities for growing your business. I think for me, it was really just focusing on 1 to 2 key focus areas and again, sticking to it. If after 3 to 6 months it's not working, maybe it's time to flip the script and change it, but just give it a shot and go. And then the other thing I think goes back to just kind of my personality and my personal experiences is just really identifying your business, your why. What is your why for getting into real estate? Because if you don't know that, it's really hard to help your clients through the transaction and really stick to that. My whole strategy has completely evolved, my business strategy evolved around my why. And again, that's doing better than what my husband and I and my son have experienced in the past. So I think those are 3 key things I would really recommend for new agents, even experienced agents to consider and think about.
Hmm. Yeah, I love your and that fits in, and those are awesome answers, Sarah. So thank you. I really like the customer service one that you're talking about, and usually, usually like the people that go on health kicks, it's because they were overweight or unhealthy, right? And they go and for you, you had a bad experience in real estate, or a few of them, it sounds like. So
Mhm.
that gives you a severe motivation why to
Yeah.
really outperform what you've received in the past, which is really good because it goes very hand in hand with our Berkshire Hathaway consumer centric marketing that we have in the VAC 2.0.
100% agree.
Yeah. And that's such a great, like I know I'm a company guy, but the VAC 2.0 with the neighborhood reports and, even the buy side report and, your newsletters, and it is a CR. I mean, when I started in the business 100 million years ago, in 1985, I had a 1 through 31 accordion file. That was my CRM. Okay.
That's
Things have changed. Yeah, right. And mail. And that's what I did. That's it. And call. But today we have so
impressive.
much great stuff you can give them too. The only thing I didn't ask you is what about social media? Do you use that at all?
I do. Actually, social media has been a huge tool for me and a resource as well. I mean, I just had a call this morning with somebody at 9 a.m. that wants 6 acres of land, and she just found me by searching on Facebook. I've had multiple contacts that way that have turned into multiple deals too. So I think when it comes to social media, for me, maybe my approach is a little bit different, but I kind of blend my personal life and my business because it's more about creating authenticity and showing my full brand, not just me as a business person and a business owner, but also who am I as a person. I think it helps people to connect with me. So it's been a huge resource for me. Social media is fantastic if used the right way. Instagram and Facebook, both.
Absolutely. So, okay, Rachel says you're the best at social media. I see these. Yes, and that's how it reminded me that I was speaking to you because yesterday I was looking through social media and I saw one of your posts, and that's why I knew you. And I've seen a lot of them because we're friends on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
So it's critical. And I think what you just said, Sarah, even though I was not a proponent of it at first, which is blending your business and your personal life together so people can see you. Because remember, we have the opportunity to get people, so people get to know us, and that's how they're going to use you. And your personal life is part of that.
It is 100%. And I feel like that's how you, in a relationship business, that's how you create connection. If you don't know who you're dealing with, if you don't see anything but all the deals they've closed and all of that, it's hard to build that connection. But once you can get in, especially the younger generation, they're going to go out and search hashtags for Arizona real estate agents or things like that. So it's important to build that personal and professional brand and kind of blend the two.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It took me a while to figure out the hashtag thing myself. It's kind of crazy. But once you figure it out, it's just a lot of simple. That's all it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is very simple, but it's really effective.
Yeah, I would recommend everybody too get used to the Videolicious app too, because that's tremendously helpful for doing
Yes.
And that's the thing too. You got to do video once in a while. They get to know you by watching you speak in video. The human voice, yours, does more to them than anything else. Pictures are great though. Text is great, but videos is where it's at.
100%. Yeah.
100%. All right. So I'm going to ask you this question now because, you come from it sounds like, you've been relocated a few times corporately and so forth. After coming into the business because of your why, which is absolutely fabulous, tell us, is there anything that jumped out at you that you've learned that you were a little surprised by getting into real estate as a real estate agent?
I think the most surprising thing is, and again, going back to the way I do business, but the most surprising thing from the deals that we've seen that have kind of gone awry, that could have been explained a lot better, is it's really simple to me to create a successful transaction just by coming together as, an escrow team, a lending team, the buying team, the selling team, and just talking, keeping each other on the same page. And it's so surprising to me to see how often that does not happen. So it's really been a goal of mine to also, make a great relationship with the selling agent as well. It's helped me so much, just build that relationship from the beginning. And then the same with the escrow officer and the lender. If I've never worked with them before, just staying in close contact and communicating. But again, scary how often that doesn't happen.
And it's kind of crazy. We're in a communication business and how little people communicate.
Right. People hate to pick up the phone, which is crazy to me. I'm so old fashioned, I guess, that way, but it's important. And I think you get your answers quicker. So.
Yeah. It's like I tell the millennials, I say, you're in the millennials really are in a group of people that they're trying not to communicate verbally as much as possible. If you can learn how to communicate verbally with power and with conviction, and like learn the little pattern I talk about in Success Series, you will keep
Hmm.
business because we're in a world that's trying not to communicate with each other. If you actually go out of your way to communicate, you separate yourself from everybody.
Very good point. I could not agree more.
And I think
Absolutely.
you're, and I think you're proving that every day, Sarah. That's awesome.
Well, thank you.
So thank you, Rachel, for suggesting, and thank you very much, Sarah. Okay, for being on today.
Yes.
Really appreciate it. All good stuff. Keep it rocking. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Awesome.
Hey,
Thank you so
everybody.
much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Sarah. Awesome stuff. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.